All right, tuning a carburetor is an art. It's actually kind of a lost art, and I want to teach you today how to tune a carburetor, but I know that's not going to be an easy task, especially a Mikuni. There's about 11 circuits on a Mikuni that you really need to tune for. So we are going to have some fun. I picked up one of these. This is an air fuel gauge for a car, and we are going to try to rig it up to fit a motorcycle. So let's go. Let's begin. Let's see if this even works, dude. All right, guys, this is me unboxing it. This is everything that comes in the kit, so you can see what it looks like. Everything cost me right around $300. I got this air fuel ratio kit, some anti-scratch magnets, and a mount for a dash for a car. So this is insanely cheap if you own a shop, because this is going to significantly cut down on tuning time, and you're going to get it perfect the first try. So I'm going to show you guys everything that we have going here. So this is an air fuel gauge, and it's going to read air fuel ratio based upon this wideband O2 sensor. Now this O2 sensor gets plugged into the exhaust, and it's going to read the exhaust gases, and those are going to give a voltage. It's going to read that voltage, and it's going to tell you whether or not you're running a little rich, if you're running a little lean, or if you're running perfect stoic. So all of this is made for a car. So we're going to figure out a way to rig this up. So what I'm thinking is I got this dash mount like this. This would go in the dash of a car. And I'm just gonna put this on anti-scratch soft magnets like this for the tank. And that's just gonna get epoxied down so I can pull this off and put it on anytime I want. So that is gonna be how we're gonna mount it. This is gonna go into the exhaust pipe. This gauge is gonna go like this. And then this controller is also going to get maybe a magnet, and that's going to go on the tank as well. So let's rig this all up. Let's go see if this even works. So this is going to kind of be the basic setup. I'm going to put this right here just so I could read the air fuel ratio while I'm tuning the carburetor. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do before buying any of this is make sure that your exhaust has a bung. So mine does. So this is where we're going to attach that wideband O2 sensor. Now, if yours doesn't, it's not the end of the world. The kit does come with a weldable bung. However, you're going to have to know how to weld, or you're going to have to pay someone to weld this onto your exhaust. We're just going to go ahead. We're going to remove this plug. We're going to install the O2 sensor, and then we're going to move on. So when installing this sensor, put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads, or else you're gonna weld this to the exhaust. Then it's never coming off. Also, make sure you don't get any of that on the actual sensor port. RTV, silicone, anything oils, it will damage and ruin this sensor. So let's go put this in. If you can't get in there with a wrench, Harbor Freight sells this for super cheap. It's an O2 sensor socket. Go pick one up. So instead of cutting all these wires shorter and soldering them, I am actually going to hook this up to the bar bag, and then all the wires are going to get tucked in there. Okay, so we just installed the O2 sensor into the bike, and everything else is pretty much plug and play. So here's your control module right here, and they're all labeled with exactly what needs to be plugged in. So first up, we'll start with the sensor. Here's the sensor right here. So this is for the wideband. You're going to connect the wideband to this end, and then this end is going to go into sensor. Next up, we have the gauge. So we're just going to take our gauge and we're going to plug it into that one. Lastly, we have power. Now, power is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to show you guys how I wired this up, and we're just going to follow the instructions. So this is output. We don't need that. We're going to leave that alone. Down here, there's 4 wires. Now, this is where it gets a little bit trickier, but I have figured this out, and I have made this pretty much foolproof. So black is going to be a ground. Red is going to be a key on power. Yellow is going to be key off, still has power. Orange is for a dimmer switch. Now, we would have to splice this into the headlight, but we're not going to do that. I don't need that. So all I'm going to do is splice it into red, just so that there's a constant circuit. You can't just delete this all together, or else the unit won't work. So let's go ahead and let's go rig this up to the motorcycle. Now, I have some stuff to help. This is a mini fuse splitter. So you're gonna plug this into the fuse and you're gonna rob the power off the fuse while still staying protected. So I highly recommend one of those, and maybe some eyelets for the positive and negative battery terminal cables. Now, to wire up the power switch, we are simply gonna just follow the instructions. The first wire that we're gonna find is a good ground for our black wire. To do this, I'm gonna use a test light and I'm gonna put it on positive, not negative, because we are looking for a path back to ground. So using this post right here that's connected to the frame, we have a good path to ground. The next wire in line is the red wire. So the red wire, we're gonna use that same test light, but instead of hooking up to the positive, we're actually gonna hook up to the ground. So what we're looking for with the key in the off position is a fuse that does not have power. So this would be a good one, this would be a good one, this would also be a good one, this would be a bad one. We would not wanna use this, okay? So now the second step is with the key on, we're gonna figure out which one of these has power. So we know that we can't use this one's out. This one does not have any power. This one does not have any power. This one does. So we are gonna use this fuse, guys, okay? Because this one does have power with the key on, and then it goes out with the key off. This one's perfect. So for the yellow wire, you want one of these fuses that's on with the key off. So remember, this guy came on, and you also want it when the key is turned on, it stays on. So this would have been perfect for the yellow fuse. However, since I am not permanently attaching it, I am just rigging it right up to the battery right here on the positive post for constant 12 volts. So before making any permanent changes to the motorcycle and splicing into wires, I like to use alligator clips to rig up my circuit just to make sure it works first so I don't waste any time. So that's what we're gonna do now. So now that I got this circuit hooked up, what we're gonna do is now we're gonna touch a power source to make sure that the gauge does not come on with the key off. So as you can see, the gauge does not come on. Now, once we turn the key on and we touch that same power source, we should see our gauge light up. So we know that this is gonna be the correct circuit. So now we're gonna go ahead and wire this in. All right, guys, here's a good time to say it helps me out a ton if you like, subscribe, and comment so I can keep making more videos. All right, guys, this is how I wired it. Since I did not want the dimmer switch, I just had these red and orange get spliced together, and then I soldered that joint to a mini fuse splitter. So this is gonna get plugged into the fuse, and then your protection is gonna go on the outside. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Red and orange fuse splitter. Next up, the black wire. It just got an eyelet that was gonna fit over the post. And lastly, the yellow wire, it got an eyelet so it can get attached to the battery. That's it. That's how simple that was. So this is what that mini fuse splitter looks like. It just takes place of the fuse, and then the fuse goes in on top. So this way we can run power right to it. Positive is at the positive terminal. Negative is on ground. Gauge is off. Key on. Gauge turns on. Let's go, dude. That's awesome. So now we're gonna start the bike. We're gonna let the O2 sensors warm up and heat up, and then we're gonna start reading some wideband. All right. We're reading. Check it out. We're reading. So we're running a little rich right now, but this thing is not going to lie to me. It's going to let me know exactly, am I running rich? Am I running lean? And now, as we're starting to tune the circuits, we start to tune the idle circuit, the main jet, the needle position. Now we can just tune them all, the accelerator pump, right where we want them for AFR. So yeah, you can see as the engine's getting hotter, it is getting richer and richer. So that's gonna take out all the guesswork. I can hook this up to anybody's bike now, and we can tune them quick. All right, so that's it. This is part one. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It's gonna help me out tremendously, and I'll keep making more videos. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go over air-fuel ratios, what is ideal, what is stoic, what is rich, what is lean, what does all this mean? To kind of go over some theory, and then we're gonna go over the Mikuni on exactly how to tune that and what that looks like and all the different circuits. And then finally, we are gonna get into tuning the circuit. So first up, we're gonna get the idle perfect. Then we're gonna get the main jet perfect, and then we're gonna tune all the intermediate jets all the way up to the main jet. So it's a nice gradual climb with perfect air-fuel ratio. Hey guys, my name's Cam. This is Gnarlies, and thanks for watching. More to come. Let's go. Look out for part 2.